These are like investigation rundowns, okay, of people that did terrible things, okay. But they're good videos though. They're actually really good. I enjoy watching them at least. I like watching them one a day only.
In the early morning hours of August 8th, 2014, a trail of blood marked a path down the quiet street of Pueblo Way in Las Vegas, Nevada. It would veer off into the National Golf Course and then make an incurve back toward each residence along the way, leaving bloody footprints in the backyard deckings and bloody palm prints on the windows, eventually culminating at the kitchen door of the very last house at the end of the street. The occupant of that household would awaken to a bang on the window, accompanied by a blood-curdling scream. The distressing noise would prompt them to immediately call 911, yet the frightening sight of what they saw when they looked outside would prevent them from opening the door. Curled up on the floor would be the horrific consequence of so-called toxic love and the conclusion of a tragic tale rampant with abusive power and control. To fully acquire an understanding of this moment, we must take into account each of the bizarre circumstances that occurred beforehand, and that takes us back to the very beginning of this story.
That is crazy, Jesus Christ.
I don't know, man, if anybody gets in my face, obviously you can't hit them, right? Or you're off the show.
You'll use your best judgment.
Oh, okay.
There are consequences for everything.
Okay.
And you'll use your best judgment.
All right, what if it's self-defense?
Use your best judgment.
Knocked them out, yeah. Third round, yeah. Knee.
You're insane. See, he's insane. This one is good.
Knocked, you know.
Where was it?
Where was it? San Manuel, Mike Robles. Mexican guy, he thinks he's all the shit, but, you know, I put him in his place. This morning, I already went to the gym at 5:45. I was hoping I could get a second trip today, you know, so.
Look.
But I've been shadow boxing in the bathroom, so.
Are you a good fighter?
Of course, that's why I fight. If I wasn't good, I would have fucking quit.
You gotta muscle up a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah?
You seem a little bit
reasonable.
Soft. All these guys are coming in all.
Yeah, but, you know, I got 6 inches of reach on them.
All right. You'll be able to use it?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, what are they going to take me down?
Yeah.
I mean, that's okay.
What are these interviews?
Okay.
It's so
They're
weird.
Take you down and beat your face in. What's all over your tat? What are all those tats mean?
Anarchy. Game bred. That means I was born. I'm bred to fight, never quit. That's a long story.
That's a long story. You peeking through keyholes at naked women? What is that?
Nah, she's little. She's only like 8, probably 12 or something. She's praying. Got me some impaled people. So I like them. When I was a little kid, I saw that movie Dracula.
Yeah.
And the impaled bodies in it. Got me excited, so I decided to get that tattoo.
What?
It says War Machine. It's my fight name.
War Machine?
Yeah.
John War Machine Koppenhaver?
Yeah.
These were the audition tapes for Season 6 of The Ultimate Fighter. For those of you unfamiliar with the program, the basic premise is similar to the genre of reality TV. You have a group of total strangers confined to a relatively small living space, multiple cameras to film each and every development that might occur, and all external sources of stimulation are taken away without exception. This means no phone, no TV, and absolutely no communication with the outside.
I'm mind blown. Wait, the producers told him. Wait, the guy said it. If I want to fight, or whatever, they said use your best judgment. Wait, they're actually putting a bunch of animals in a cage and just saying fuck it.
Outside
That's
world.
crazy.
The simple reasoning behind this is to create tension.
What the fuck
tension
is this?
can lead to hostility, and hostility can make for great television.
I want to go. But what if you survive Friday? To go on Friday now. That is it. I don't want to be here anymore. I do not want to be amongst you lot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't want to be around people. They're giving them a fucking shit about how I'm feeling. I hope the public vote me out because I don't want to be here. I fucking hate it. I fucking hate living with these two-faced and because I don't suck people's fucking assholes, I'm up for eviction every week. I ain't sucking arsehole. I'm not gonna suck fucking assholes.
The only real difference between the more mainstream reality shows, such as Big Brother, compared to the considerably more target-marketed Ultimate Fighter, is that the participants are solely made up of professional MMA fighters. Not only that, but they are each put into a single elimination tournament in which they must compete against each other, with the winning prize being a 6-figure contract with the UFC, the world's leading MMA promotion. To put in simpler terms, 16 guys live in a house together for 6 weeks, and they all fight in a cage every few days until just one victor remains. That's the entire show in a nutshell. So it would come as no surprise that some of the characters that voluntarily put themselves in this situation aren't exactly the most mentally stable of individuals.
Say straight now, dog! Straight up! I will knock you the out right now! What's your worth? It ain't worth, dog!
Jesus.
Stop! Man.
I do. Let me bang. I do let you bang. Hey. Let me bang again, man. I'll let you bang. I'll let you bang.
What?
Let you bang. Let you bang.
Just on a quick side note, it really is a shame the producers decided to put pretentious and dramatic music over this segment, as it somewhat takes away from the unintentional comedic brilliance of the moment.
That's too soft. No.
It's characters like this, of which there have been many, that have made the show one of the most popular in the world among the 18 to 25 male demographic. The program can make anyone a viral sensation for both the right and wrong reasons. Heroes and villains alike have become superstars of the UFC via this route of indoctrination, one of whom was 26-year-old John Koppenhaver, aka War Machine, who started off the show as one of the least popular contestants. His first few segments of airtime consisted of him either getting drunk, destroying property, fighting with other contestants, or making crude and indelicate remarks over a multitude of sensitive topics. He acted in a brash and somewhat primitive manner throughout the first half of the series, yet he managed to turn things around in episode 8, as he finally opened up and bared his soul in the lead-up segment to his fight.
Before being here, you know, people would always say stupid shit like, your past, your childhood, this and that. You know, it could affect the way you turn out, you know. It could affect dumb things, even like fighting or whatever, anything. I'm like, yeah, right, dude. But it doesn't matter, man. My dad died. I gave him CPR, big deal. Big fucking deal. No, I thought, hey, I'm strong. I got past all of that. I don't ever think about it, ever. But I'm just here now, nothing to do. And, you know, I think about everything.
Okay.
He went from the least to the most popular fighter over the course of a single episode, and although he lost his fight via close decision and was eliminated in the first round, he remained a favorite from that moment on, and was even given a second chance at the show's pay-per-view final, where he faced off against another popular contestant.
Of course,
the fight essentially guaranteed the winner a place in the UFC, and losing in the show could now be redeemed for one of them. But they needed to win, and win in spectacular fashion.
I rode my bicycle past your window last night. I roller skated to your door at daylight. It almost seems like you're avoiding me. I'm okay alone, but you got
spectacular fashion. It's not TOS.
I got a brand new pair of roller skates.
This isn't TOS. This is allowed on Twitch, I'm pretty sure.
I think that we should get together and try the march you sing. I've been looking around a while. You got something for me. Oh, I got a brand new pair of roller skates. You got a brand new key.
It's not a race, it's a sport.
And he's mounted. J-Rock's in big trouble. War Machine also has a first division. That's won it. It is all over. What a turnaround. John Koppenhaver wins. What a fight. War Machine.
Jesus.
The fight game is closely associated with the notion of mountaintops and valleys. The highs are so incredibly high, yet the lows are equally as low. And this requires an all-or-nothing approach to life. To win it all, you have to risk it all. Imagine training for months on end for an occasion that lasts 15 minutes at the most, and the outcome of that occasion means everything. If you win, there won't be many things that compare to the elation of that moment. But if you lose, the emotional pain can be devastating, and many have correlated the feelings with total despair and hopelessness. The fight game is essentially a complete gamble, not just from a physical and financial standpoint, but from a psychological and what some would consider a spiritual one too. To be great, You must take great risk, and the long-term odds will be heavily stacked against you. John Koppenhaver had reached the mountaintop on this occasion, yet his descent into the valley would soon follow. His next fight took place on May 24th of 2008, and he was submitted just 56 seconds into the first round. He was released from the UFC and had multiple run-ins with the law soon after. He was eventually charged with 2 counts of assault, the first of which was for choking a man unconscious in a parking lot.
To have that image out there that a fighter is choking people out is scary.
Well, but that's nice to choke them out, because if we wanted to, we could smash their whole body apart. So a choke is nice and quiet, nice and peaceful. You take a little nap and you wake up. You know, harm done. You know, on the other hand, you smash them to pieces.
Jesus Christ, what?
You know, that really hurt. So that's a nice way out.
The second assault charge was for rendering a bouncer unconscious at a nightclub.
There's always a little bit of tension between us. He's a big dude, probably like 6'4", 320 pounds, big giant dude. And that night in particular, we had words that kept escalating. You know, he was gonna beat me up, I was gonna beat him up. We're talking shit. And eventually it got to the point where it's like, well, what's up? And he's like, what's up? You know, do something. He's telling me to do something, egging me on, kind of challenging me. You want to fight? Well, dude, you don't want to fight me. Well, yeah, come on, let's do it. We did it. He lost. It was only one punch. I didn't terrorize him. One punch. He lost, I won, I got in trouble. Had I lost, I would have went home, went to sleep, woke up and said, I'm not gonna do that again. Some people are a little bit different. They like to pick fights and they like to, call the cops. So, that's his problem.
In a surprising display of leniency from the court, he was only sentenced to 3 years probation with 30 days of community service. He knew he was extremely lucky not to get jail time, and this allowed him to resume his career in MMA and attempt to rise once more.
Guys, what are you saying for it? Yeah, or just don't fight. Guys, fighting is extremely dangerous, especially like street fights and whatnot. Just don't fight, man. Yeah, if you can, always avoid fighting. Fighting, it's bad, man. No fighting.
He stated that his plan was to fight and
guys, it's risky. You could get injured permanently. It's super scary. Like I feel like people don't understand how incredibly dangerous fighting is.
Small town shows against low-level opponents in the hope that a long winning streak and improved record would allow him to return to the UFC. He had a clear-cut goal, along with the blueprints on how to get there, and everything started going according to plan.
That's the point? No, it's not the point, because one punch, and it could be the end of somebody else, and that's not what you meant, or whatever, and now it's too late, or whatever. Don't fight. Don't take the risk. It's weird.
Ability of War Machine should not be questioned. That's a good tapping out. He's out.
Ariel Helwani for fanhouse.com, being joined by MMA fighter War Machine. And War Machine, you are on an impressive 3-fight winning streak as of late. You feeling a little more comfortable in your MMA career now?
You know what, dude? It's I belong in the big shows. You know what I mean? So I've been going around and beating up these undefeated hometown heroes like De Lorenzi up in Canada and Rashad Woods in DC and
the ear looks in a weird, looks in a fried. Because the ear looks like
supposed to be, you know what I mean? I mean, I'm the real deal, dude. I'm not a scrub, so I'm just I'm just gonna keep
like a little piece of ham
until I get back into the UFC or back into a big show.
At this moment in time, the UFC required a 6-to-1 win-to-loss ratio to even be considered for a contract. This meant John had to win 3 more fights to get another shot. He would win the next 2, one by submission and the other by technical knockout, but then lose the third via a close-fought split decision. This loss would have been a very hard pill to swallow, as it essentially meant he would have to start from scratch. Not quite at the bottom, but not far from it. The momentum he had built was now gone despite all the work it took to get there. It would have been a remarkably harsh dose of reality when he woke up the next morning, and he appeared to go off the rails soon after.
Prosecutors played surveillance video from in and outside Thruster's Lounge in Pacific Beach.
Again!
It immediately knocked me back. I grabbed from my mouth and kind of fell backwards onto my butt, and it took me a few seconds to kind of come out of my daze.
Bouncer Matthew Compton said the UFC fighter War Machine, who had his name legally changed from John Koppenhaver, punched him several times in the mouth. Compton said he was dazed, his lip was split, and 2 of his teeth loosened. Seconds later, he said the brawl moved outside, where another security camera captured the action.
Beyond aggressive.
Jesus.
Crazy, almost. That's the best way I can describe it.
What do you mean, almost? That is crazy.
Was seeing nothing else.
He was rendered a term of 1 year to be served at the San Diego County Jail, but was granted a 2-month delay before starting his sentence. He reportedly used this time to mainly go out and party, but also managed to cram in one final fight just days before his surrender date.
Had a tough battle with John Alessio. Match didn't go your way. Care to reflect on it?
You know, I actually did a lot better than I thought I was going to do. I pretty much knew I would lose unless I got a lucky knockout. I trained for 5 days for the fight. I'm in the worst shape I've ever been in my whole life. So I was like, oh man, it was a weird mental game going to this fight. Usually,
guys, I'm always confused, chat. Isn't like repeat offense really bad? Like if you do something bad and then you give you a consequence and you do it again and again. I think anytime that I see glimpse at the legal system, whatever, people do things over and over and over, and it just never stops. And it doesn't seem like things are like rampant consequences. It's like nothing really happens.
Yeah, I'm confident. I think I'm gonna win. This time I really knew I would lose, but I was hoping for a lucky something. So I did better than I thought I was gonna do, so I'm happy for that. But I still would have, rather won, of course. But
now I know you've had a lot of drama coming up and stuff like that. Did that at all get in your head for this fight?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Fighting is a mental game, so you want to always have everything going as smooth as possible before a fight. So I have a lot of stress. I'm gonna go to jail for a year next week, and I just don't want to go to jail because it's gonna be boring. I can't train, I can't fight, I can't get laid. You know what I mean? I mean, I can't even have delicious snacks, no pizza, nothing. You know what I mean? So
no
it's gonna suck,
snackies.
but I mean, I'm not worried about nothing else. I don't think anyone's gonna try and mess with me. I mean, it's county jail, it's not prison, so everyone there is a year or less, so they all want to go home too. So I don't expect, and I'm not in a gang, so there's no reason for people to mess with me. I'm just gonna mind my own business, read some books. I'm gonna just do push-ups and sit-ups and all that kind of stuff.
Any last thing you want to say to the fans out there?
Thanks for sticking by me, and I'll be back in a year, and I'll be in shape, and I'll do good fights. So
he was initially meant to serve exactly 1 year in jail, yet would go on to serve over 2, as the judge extended his sentence due to preceding street fights that came to light. He was made to serve a large majority of his time in solitary confinement for undisclosed reasons, and he was released directly from solitary onto the streets on October 29, 2012. He conceptualized a clothing brand during his incarceration, and would launch it with a friend just days after his release. He also started a video diary on social media where he virtually admitted to taking steroids, and at times came across as completely unhinged and maniacal.
Oh my fucking god, I'm so fucking pissed off right now. Dude, I've been craving a fucking Slurpee since last night. I want a Slurpee. I want a fucking Slurpee. And I see 7-Eleven, so I go and I want to get a Slurpee. And I fill out my fucking cup, and the fucking bitch who fucking works there fucking tells me that I need to take off my fucking hoodie on my head. And I was like, what? Huh? And the fucking bitch tells me that I have to fucking take off my hoodie or she's not gonna fucking serve me a fucking Slurpee. You fucking serious? Oh my god, I'm fucking freaked the fuck out. And then the fucking other asshole that works there says he's gonna call the cops. I wanna smash the fucking motherfucker. So I dumped my fucking Slurpee on the floor so those fucking dumb motherfuckers could clean it up.
This is a roid rage? What is that?
Oh my god, I'm so fucking mad. Why can't I just get a fucking Slurpee? Why that motherfucker gotta harass me and tell me to take off my fucking hoodie? I'm gonna go to this other 7-Eleven right now. I'm gonna get a fucking Slurpee right now. And these motherfuckers better not tell me to take off my fucking hoodie. And they better not give me a hard fucking time. These motherfuckers. Oh my god, this motherfucker.
Just take off the hoodie, dude.
Oh, fucking A. Look what I got, Slurpee. Look at my hood still on. Yeah, you know what, man? I'm fucking really glad this fucking dickhead right here, he sold me a Slurpee, because if that motherfucker wouldn't have given me a Slurpee, then I'd have had to boycott fucking 7-Eleven and all Slurpees. And I don't like to boycott Slurpees. What's up, guys? Yeah, I got some time to talk about this TRT shit right now. First of all, fucking any fighter that tries to get a TRT exemption is stupid, because now you're telling them you're doing it. You know what I mean? Now, like, you know what I mean? You're better off just to shut up about it. Steroids aren't magic. You know what I mean? Most all athletes do it, and they do it because they want to be the best. They want to do the best, and plus everyone else is doing it. So it's like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You know, you can't do shit about it. You know. Hey yo, fuck 24-hour fitness, man. Oh my god, I'm fucking about to freak the fuck out. I just left my fucking workout.
I'm about to freak the fuck out.
So I'm working out. I'm doing fucking weighted pull-ups, 24-hour fitness, and I'm using a chalk because I go heavy. Like I'm doing like 105 pounds. And fucking it slips, you know, you need chalk. And some of this fucking like little fucking old skinny white fucking little bitch, this little man. I'm like chalk in my hands, and I fucking walk up. I walk up to the bar. He goes, "Hey, chalk's not allowed in this gym." And I was like, "What?" He's like, and I was like, "I don't give a fuck." He's like, "Oh, you don't give a fuck?" I said, "I don't give a fuck." I said, "Get the fuck out of my way, motherfucker." And he's like, "Oh, I've been here for 6 years." I said, "I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Get the fuck out of my way. Get the fuck out of my way. Get the fuck." I said, "Motherfucker, you better get the fuck out of my fucking way." If I was on probation, I would smash his fucking face. If it was the old days, oh my god, dude. And then I'm wearing my fucking, I do alpha male shit, fucking shirt, my tank top and shit. And he's like, "Oh, also, your shirt has profanity." I said, "Motherfucker." I said, "Shit is not a fucking cuss word." And I was like, "Hey man," I said, "You're taking it too far, motherfucker." I said, "You're taking it too fucking far." I said, "I'm gonna freak the fuck out." I said, "Get the fuck out of my fucking face." I said, "I'm gonna finish your fucking workout, and then I'm gonna fucking cancel membership." Get the fuck out of my face. I'm gonna freak. I'm gonna snap. Oh yeah, so I go down.
This is some Karen shit.
I tell the chick, like, "Hey, where's your little bitch ass manager?" She looked at me all crazy. And then I went to the manager office. She's like, "Oh, I'm really sorry." I was like, "I don't give a fuck." I said, "Get the fuck out of my fucking face right fucking now. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Get the fuck out of my face. Don't talk to me again in your fucking life." Oh my god, dude. I'm fucking pissed. Oh, hey, go to alphamaleshit.com and buy some shit. Because fucking, why not? Because it's good shit. And because, I don't know, I want to make money. Because I'm broke.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What the fuck?
I was watching the video from last night. I was freaking out about that 24-hour fitness stuff. It makes me look like a fucking maniac. But I was fucking pissed, for real. I'm on probation, and I can't act the way that I used to act, like a wild maniac, like I want to, like. So I think this is gonna be kind of good, like the stupid these little video blogs, because then I could like kind of vent, it's kind of like a diary, like a journal or whatever. I know how to freak out and smash people instead, It's kind of good, and it's kind of funny, Because when I watch it, I'm like, fuck, dude, I look like a fucking psychomaniac. But that's how I get, man. I get so fucking pissed off, So pissed off. But that guy was a dick.
This is weird.
I don't know what that guy's problem was.
He was highly active on social media, and his intense, albeit controversial views seemed to recapture his fan base to a considerable degree. For the first 6 months after his release from prison, rather than training to be a professional fighter, he mainly vlogged and focused on his brand, while posting the majority of his content to MySpace. Every day he would post a fresh cover photo without exception, and each image consisted of a scenic background with an inspirational message glazed over it. This became almost habitual activity, and those who were following John's account could expect a new picture at around midnight every night. However, on Tuesday the 9th of April
24 minutes.
2013, the routine procedure abruptly ceased, and for 4 days, his social media went completely silent. On Sunday the 14th, he would post just one cover photo, but then withdrew completely from all social media platforms for almost 2 weeks. This caused both his followers and the MMA community to speculate on his whereabouts, with many asserting he had gone back to prison for violating his parole, while others stated he was on the run for a drug charge. But he wasn't on the run, and he wasn't in prison. The rumors were quashed on Friday the 26th at exactly 4:34 p.m., as John's social media would once again come alive and see him post multiple times a day, every day. Only this time he wasn't posting melodramatic quotes lifted from Google Images, as it appeared he no longer needed them.
People said 26 minutes in.
The woman in the picture was 22-year-old Christy McInday, who at the time was a leading figure in the adult film industry. She rose to stardom in 2012 when she first began as a performer, and her profile continued to skyrocket as she hit the mainstream avenues. Her and Koppenhaver met on a photo shoot for Hustler magazine during the spring of 2013, and struck up a relationship 2 weeks later. John went back to fighting and restored his winning streak, while Christy continued to rise in the world of adult entertainment.
Guys, at what time? 26:35.
They both seemed to elevate each other's profiles simultaneously, and made several public appearances at award ceremonies and media outlets. They began receiving brand deals as a couple, and were even in talks with Bravo TV about starting their own reality show. Their crossing of paths appeared to align the stars. Everything started falling into place, and the future looked promising. Yet the bright outlook on their flourishing careers and the prospect of being rich and famous would fade into trivial insignificance when compared to the extraordinary rush of falling in love.
Yeah, I have to close. Hold up. Blood pictures. Bloody face of girl.
One thing that people understand, yet always seem to forget, is that you never truly know what goes on behind closed doors. Things aren't always as they seem, and the manner in which couples often present their lives in public can be a stark contrast to the reality when no one is watching. This is extremely common in abusive relationships, and will often be an unspoken agreement between the abused and the abuser. They will each maintain the...
Okay. Now I can resume it, and then it stops when again? And from 45 again to 28, and then we're done.
Pleasing facade while hiding the ugly truth. The abuser's public image will often be an outright contradiction to their true self, while the abused will happily play along as they can escape into fantasy and pretend it's all real for a few brief moments. A prolonged abusive relationship requires both parties to live vicariously through the perceptions of others. It would come to light that violence was a common occurrence in Christy and John's relationship, with Christy being on the receiving end of it each and every time. She would eventually break things off in May 2014, but John kept a key to her apartment and showed up unannounced 3 months later to find her in bed with another man. That man was 35-year-old Corey Thomas, who was then beaten to a bloody pulp for roughly 10 minutes and suffered a dislocated shoulder, broken nose, and bite mark to the face. He was then put in a chokehold and made to swear that he wouldn't go to the authorities, at which point he gave John his word and was then let go. Koppenhaver then set himself on Christy for almost 2 hours. She was raped, severely beaten, and cut with a knife. Her injuries included 18 broken bones in her face, 12 missing teeth, 3 rib fractures, and a severely ruptured liver. Once her attacker's back was...
And we good to go back to it now?
turned, she managed to escape out the balcony and stagger to a neighbor's garden where she was soon rescued by police. Officers then raided the apartment, but Koppenhaver was nowhere to be found. He went on the run for over a week and posted tweets the entire time, basically professing how misunderstood and unfairly treated he was. He was eventually tracked down to a motel in Simi Valley, California, and taken into custody. He was held without bond at the Clark County Detention Center for 2.5 years awaiting trial. He pleaded not guilty to all 34 charges laid against him, which included 1 count of first-degree rape and 2 counts of attempted murder. His trial commenced on February 27th of 2017.
Now, you will hear that all of a sudden while they're sleeping, this door comes open, the lights turn on, and the defendant is standing there. Both of them are shocked. They both kind of sit up in the bed. The defendant looks at Corey. He runs to Corey. He jumps on the bed and he starts wailing on his face. Hit after hit after hit after hit. Corey sticks up his hands to protect himself, and then the defendant begins to choke him. Now Christy, knowing that this is what the defendant does, very quickly hops out of bed and puts the 2 dogs out because the defendant has been violent towards her dogs in the past.
Oh,
she puts those dogs out. She then runs to the
bathroom. This is so disgusting.
She takes her cell phone and she makes a 911 call.
Jesus Christ, what did this guy not do, man? This is just... disgusting all across the board.
You'll have that 911 call back in evidence and be able to hear it clear. Ms. McInday will tell you that at one point she wakes up, she's lying on her back, her legs are spread out in front of the defendant, excuse my language, and he says, "That's my pussy and I'm gonna take it back." He then licks his hand, places it on her vagina in an attempt to lubricate it as he tries to get himself hard. But he's not able to do so, and that makes him angry, so he continues to beat her. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of this trial, after you see all of the items of evidence, after you hear the testimony of Corey Thomas, and after you hear the testimony of Christy McInday, the state will ask you to go in, deliberate, come back, and find the defendant guilty of the crimes in which the state has charged him. Guys,
mixed feelings here. It's kind of tough to react. Okay, let's, yeah.
Questions about an individual by the name of Christine McInday. Do you know her?
Yes.
And how is it that you know her?
We dated.
Because guys, it's like I can't react. I can just watch.
Went great. We met each other and got acquainted with each other and had some dinner about 7 p.m.
Did you
that's a monster.
Discuss any of her previous boyfriends at that time?
Yeah, you kind of discussed that, in the beginning opening date. She had mentioned that her previous boyfriend happened to be an MMA fighter.
What was your understanding of her relationship with the MMA fighter previous boyfriend?
Oh, she said they had no relationship. They'd been over for 6 months. So then the door opened to the room, and the lights came on, and the defendant was standing there looking at me.
Is that individual present in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Can you point to him and describe something he's wearing?
Oh, sure. Purple shirt, War Machine.
So the lights went on at that time, and then you were able to see his face?
Yeah.
Okay. Describe to me the expression on his face.
A very surprised, big-eyed, very angry look, and you could see him say the words, "What the fuck?"
What happens after he mouths those words to you?
So I thought to myself, wow, what's going to happen next? And I remember trying to put my hands onto the bed and kind of slide up towards the sitting position, but before I could get there, he had already jumped onto the bed from there to there, and he had started pounding me in the face.
And where was he striking you?
In the face.
With what?
With his knuckles, closed fist.
Okay. Did he land any of those hits?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Jesus.
What's going through your mind at this time?
Cover my face, but then I was just receiving.
That is incredibly scary. Holy fuck!
Fast, quick hits, and I just covered. I started to cover my face as fast as possible, and get my hands up, but they were still slipping in. The guy's a fighter, so it's like you can't cover everything. And I thought to myself, okay, I got to break him from hitting me. And I reached up, I grabbed him behind the neck with my right hand, and I pulled him down to flatten him out, so he had to put his hands out. Though as he's coming down, then he bit me here in the cheek.
Okay.
And I could feel the bite, and once it registered I was getting bitten, then I put my hands back up to try and break him off of my face.
The fuck is wrong with this person?
As I was trying to push him up off of me. And then he still
That's an uncaged animal, dude!
A lot of hits. So, I used my feet and my hands to push him away from me, and I stepped off to the left side of the bed. I tried to roll over to the side of the bed, and then he came.
Fucking put a fucking muzzle on him in court, dude.
Went for my neck from behind and put a choke around my neck. My head is about here, body's like this. He's choking me that way, and I'm looking up at the ceiling, thinking to myself, "Oh my God, I'm not gonna die in Christy's bathroom."
What were you feeling as he's choking you?
I was starting to see stars and go unconscious. I was on my way. So then I thought to myself, well, I'm physically done. I think the only thing left here is to mentally try and change the table and see what's possible. And I just asked a simple question. I said, well, what do you want from me? Do you want to kill me, or do you want me to walk out of here?
What was his response?
At first it was, not really a response, just a just a pause. Then he moved into threatening me and telling me, well, my friends are Hell's Angels, and my friends are Navy SEALs, and you know, how do I know if I let you go, you're not going to be a snitch?
Did you tell him whether or not you would snitch?
Yeah, I said, well, I'm no snitch.
Okay.
So that's that. You know, if we make an agreement to handle this and this is over, then that's what it is.
Jeez.
But he threatened me again, and I said, well, you got really two options. You got to kill me, or you got to let me go. And I kind of tried to just change the table, and I could feel him kind of release a little bit. I got to my feet and
risky play. I feel like
saying
that to fucking Zero IQ Andy, like going full roid rage. I don't know.
I grabbed my things from this side of the
but
bed.
he got out, so.
I looked at him, he looked at me, we nodded at each other, and I said, okay, and I walked out the door. I went up to the other room where we were last night, grabbed the rest of my stuff, and I walked right back out, down the stairs to the front door, and left.
Were you able to, did you land any punches on him?
No.
No?
Sorry, guys.
Because I was busy getting punched.
Okay. When you were leaving Ms. Mack's
Guys, it caught me by surprise, okay?
Hear any screaming or yelling between either the defendant or Ms. McInday?
No.
Could you hear anything that made you believe that there was further violence going on in that house?
From hearing anything, no. Because in my mind, I would never, that's hitting a girl is not something that I would ever be able to understand doing. So, in my mind,
what did you say?
Hitting a girl.
Hitting a girl.
Yeah, I was raised with three sisters, my mother, and that's not something that would process in my mind. So I thought two guys fought. That's the end of it, and I'm spent. I'm sure he is, and move forward.
Do you have quite an affinity for animals?
Yes, I do.
Right. Do you have several pets?
Yes.
So during this time period that we're going to talk about in a little bit, which would be August of 2014, can you explain how many animals you had and what kind of animal they were?
I have 2 dogs, and I had, I believe, 5 snakes at that time, and I had some rats.
Snakes!
And John and I had shared 2 ferrets.
Okay.
Oh, ferrets are so cute. I had one of those when I was a kid.
The term John. Who's that?
And you refer to him as War Machine.
Okay. And was he your boyfriend at one time?
Yes.
Okay. Do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Can you please just describe an article of clothing that he's wearing?
Relevance? I don't know.
He's wearing a white button-up shirt.
Okay. Your Honor, may the record reflect that she's identified the defendant?
Yes, it will.
Thank you. So...
I think the relevance is what she's going to do next, and her actions based on that is that what she's going to go save the dogs by leaving them so they can establish what she's doing and why, whatever.
We were speaking about the defendant just a second ago. How was it that you met him?
We met at an adult shoot for Hustler.
You'll see.
And it was just a like a photograph spread for Hustler magazine.
Was it did you have an appointment to do the photo shoot at Hustler, or did he? How did that work out?
He did. They had asked him to do the shoot, and he said I would only do it if you got Christy to do it.
Okay. Did you know him at that point?
No, I did not.
Okay. And so you agreed to do the shoot?
Yes.
And so the two of you obviously must have hit it off?
Yeah, a little bit. I was very standoffish. I didn't want a relationship. I felt very independent, and I didn't want a man at that time.
Okay. But at some point you came into a relationship, right?
Yes, we did.
And so when was that?
Just a few weeks after.
Towards the building, Your Honor. When you started dating, how old were you?
This guy.
I believe I was 22.
And how old was he?
That would make him 32.
What types of things, like when when the relationship was going well, what types of things did the two of you do for fun?
We would go to movies. We would just go to the park, drive around sometimes.
Pretty surprised though.
I don't like being
her
in
face
crowds.
healed up and whatnot.
I have really bad social anxiety, so it makes me uncomfortable.
And I was going to ask you, are you somewhat of a homebody?
Guys,
Yeah.
they said 18 broken face bones and 12 missing teeth or whatever.
Yes, definitely.
And do you drink?
Not at all.
Do you do any drugs?
Never.
And so, Mr. Koppenhaver, did that lifestyle match with him as well?
For a while it seemed that it did, but at times it definitely did not suit him at all.
If I were to ask you, like, how would you explain your relationship? What would you say?
Our relationship was definitely very, very passionate. And at times very violent, but sometimes extremely loving.
Did the defendant go quickly to anger during fights?
Usually, yes.
If I can road rage Andy up in here.
At some point in your relationship, did you start to see an angry side of him?
Yes, I did.
In the beginning, or when you first started seeing this side to him, was the violence physical?
Not in the beginning.
Okay, can you explain how it was?
In the beginning, he would remove himself from the situation.
Did it get to a point where when he got angry, he wasn't leaving the room anymore?
Yes.
And did there start to become physical violence in your relationship?
Guys, the cameraman isn't bad. He's alone.
When did that start happening?
I want to say 3 or 4 months in. In the beginning, it would just be like a slap in the face, and that would be it, or just choking me, and that would be it.
When he would do this, was your breathing impeded?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it's kind of zoomed in and
Would you
wrong.
lose consciousness?
Usually, yes.
Usually you would lose consciousness?
Yes.
How often were these types of
Jesus.
things happening, like the slaps or the chokes?
At first, they weren't that frequent, maybe once a month. But as our relationship progressed, the violence progressed also.
TLDR, failed fighting show Andy, goes to UFC, loses, wins, loses, and then joins careers with her for like whatever. And then she's like a porn star. They relationship. He's crazy maniac mode. And then one day she it cheats on him or something with other men, and then he smashes everything, both of them in room.
No.
No, your mom lived with you in your home in Las Vegas.
Yes, she did.
And you said that
Okay, sorry, they didn't cheat. They broke up. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. That's what I heard. I'm sorry.
the defendant
They broke up. Apologies. I didn't know. Okay, I thought that was what happened.
hated your mom.
Yes.
And was there a constant...
They were apart for a year and a half. My bad. I'm sorry about that.
I mean, it went both ways. Is that fair to say?
Yes, it did. They both hated each other.
When he would do these things to you, like these choking events or slapping events, would he ever take any personal property from you?
He would usually take my phone.
And why would he take your phone?
He was afraid that I was going to call my mom.
Why would that
Jesus.
scare him if you called your mom?
Because my mom would call the police.
Did you feel comfortable telling your mom or your friends that these types of things were happening to you?
No, I hid it from my mom the best I could. I don't like my mom to worry about me, and then I also didn't want her to call the police.
Were you embarrassed that these things were happening to you?
I was extremely embarrassed. I never thought that I could let that happen to me. I always saw myself as a strong individual. And I realize now that I shouldn't have been embarrassed. But at the time, I definitely was.
Did he ever threaten you if you did tell?
Yes, he did.
What did he say?
He said he would send his Navy SEAL friends and the Hells Angels after either myself
This is sad.
or
Can
my
we move
family.
on? Yo, it's interesting. We're watching
If
it.
he went to
I'm
prison.
finishing regardless. Doesn't
Christy
matter.
recounts 4 graphic occurrences of her getting physically assaulted by the defendant, with the 4th being over another guy designing her gold-plated fangs.
He ripped my wig off, and I took my fangs out because I knew he was going to hit me next, and I didn't want to either chip my teeth or swallow one of the fangs.
Okay. And so you took them out. What
Yes.
happened after you took the fangs out?
I put them into my bag, and he began screaming at me more and more, and he turned the car around to go back where we came from. I had taken my seatbelt off because I knew
Guys, what's
if
a
we
fang?
hit a stoplight, I'd be able to escape, and I wouldn't have to get hit this time.
Okay.
So I took my seatbelt off without him noticing, and I tried, when we reached the stoplight, thank God we hit a stoplight, I opened the door to try and escape, and he pulled me back in by my hair and slammed my head down on the dashboard, which chipped my tooth. And then he was still really mad, so he grabbed my head and brought me in and bit my chin right here.
The left part of your bottom chin?
Yes, and I don't remember how many times he hit me after that, but he turned down the side road by the Best Buy, and he said, "Now I have to kill you because people saw you try and escape."
Jesus.
He said, now I have to take you to the desert and kill you. I still have my seatbelt off. I was bent over crying, and at some point he punched me in the back. And then he took me to a gym parking lot, and he calmed down a little bit, and he licked his hand and tried to wipe some of the blood away. He told me he couldn't take me home like this because my mom was home. He told me he had to clean me up, but everything was gonna be fine. And then after that, he took me home. He went inside first. When my mom greeted him, he said that I was just, getting some stuff out of the car and that I would be in shortly. And then when she went back to her room, he allowed me to come in and go upstairs and clean myself up.
What were your injuries after that incident?
I had a black eye and I had a cut under my eye. I had a scratch on my nose where he had hit me. I had a bite mark here. And that's pretty much it. My chipped tooth. I once told my mom, I just fell down the stairs in my bedroom. Of course, the cliche, I fell down the stairs. But I ended up using that. I told my friends that it was just a dog scratch, or my dogs are large, that a dog had hit me in the head, like head-butted me, like it was. I would just come up with any excuse that I could use.
You said in the days afterwards, he would take care of you. So let's say that there's an incident like we were just talking about.
I don't think he's defending him in chat.
The next days, how would he treat you?
It would be the best days of our relationship. He would stay home from training just to
Chat's
be with
memeing
me.
ironically. Chill the fuck out, dude.
We would watch all my favorite movies. He would go to the store and get all the snacks that I wanted. He'd go get coffee for me. We would order, take in a delivery. He would just be around me and make sure that I was okay.
Was he loving during those periods?
Extremely loving.
This is known in psychology as the cycle of abuse, or more specifically, Phase 3, sometimes referred to as the honeymoon stage. After an abusive episode, the abuser will often seek connection. They will act romantic, apologetic, and remorseful. The abused will primarily feel relief in that they are no longer being attacked, but they may also begin to feel a stronger connection to the abuser due to the abrupt switch of contrasting emotions. When intense fear and intimidation is directly followed by affection and warmth, the intimate nature of the latter can become significantly intensified.
Yeah.
The abused will then feel reassured and hopeful about the relationship, and this denial approves the illusion of safety. During therapy, the counselor will often refer to this as the merry-go-round. The reason for this is because the cheerful image of an amusement ride is believed to make it less intimidating, and therefore easier to both spot and then accept when the cycle of abuse is occurring. Christy then goes on to graphically recount just one of the multiple times she was raped by the defendant.
When this is going on, are you saying anything? Are you fighting?
I might say this part.
I start by saying, no, please don't. I don't
I
want
might
this
say
to
this
happen.
part.
And then I just give up.
Did you make clear
off and then?
Why did you continue to stay with him when these things were being done to you?
It's a little too dark.
I loved him. I would have done anything for him. I just wanted to be with him.
Another hour of testimony goes by where Christy details multiple occurrences of physical and psychological abuse. She eventually gets to the moment when Corey Thomas had just left the apartment after being assaulted by Koppenhaver.
But
You
why?
said that
Because some of these videos have a dark topics or whatever, and they're interesting, okay? I gave you guys a fucking warning that it was gonna be graphic, not fucking mentally scarring you to chill the fuck out.
after Corey leaves, you remember the defendant running at you.
Yes.
And then you remember, the next thing you remember is being in the shower.
Chill out?
Yes.
Do you remember how you got in the shower?
I don't know how I got in the shower.
Do you remember, when you were in the shower, did you have clothes on?
What do you guys want from me? Okay, yeah, I'm looking for the better health of the chat. Okay, chill the fuck out.
They were off, and the shorts that I were wearing were in the shower.
Okay, what's the next part we can watch?
When you were in the shower, what was the defendant doing?
50-50?
He was going through my phone and yelling at me through the glass door.
What was he yelling about?
I don't remember exactly what he was yelling about anymore.
At that point in time, did you think you had been hit?
Yes, I could taste blood in my mouth, so I knew I had been hit in the face. And I also I don't remember how I got in the shower.
What's the next thing you remember?
Past that,
50-50, 5'10".
I just remember being on all fours right in front of the shower, like I was about to stand up, and he kicked me in the ribs so hard that I fell over and began convulsing.
Did you ever ask him for help or to stop?
Just after this, I told him that I needed help. Because I
This one is really sad.
Like I was going to die at this point.
What did he say to you?
He told me that nobody could help me.
At any point in time, did he ever use any weapons against you?
Just lock this guy up already, Jesus Christ.
He had a knife. It was one of my kitchen set knives. It was a black handle with silver rivets. And he would push it
No, she didn't cheat. It's sad, but she's still a cheater. No, I'm actually gonna fucking perma you, dumbass. You're so fucking stupid. Dude, how could you possibly even you're so fucking weird, dude. How could you even bring up one possible thing that she didn't do that she could have possibly done in comparison to what's happening? You're a degenerate.
My ear, he would push it in my hand. He sawed off my hair. He cut up all of my wigs because he always hated my wigs. He cut my head.
With a knife?
Yes. I just remember him still being so angry he broke the handle off of the knife and still continued to use the knife blade in his hand to push it.
I have to skip you, right? In 2 seconds?
Is there come a point where he tells you that he's going to have to kill you?
Yes.
What does he say?
He looks at me and he says, now I have to kill you. I've gone too far. You can't be seen like this. Everyone's gonna know.
Koppenhaver then goes downstairs to the kitchen to retrieve another blade, at which point Christy gets to her feet, staggers to her first-story balcony, and jumps off. She then musters the strength to make her way down to the end of the street, where her neighbor spots her hiding in the garden and calls 911. Christy was taken to the hospital and treated for her injuries. The horrific images circulated on social media, and the hashtag War Machine began trending in the United States, Canada, Brazil, and the United Kingdom. The mugshot of the perpetrator became the most retweeted image during the second week of August 2014, and this eventually led to his arrest. The trial was a hot topic in the national news, with each of the elements receiving a considerable amount of coverage, yet the most talked about was Erin McInday, Christy's mother. She would testify on day 7 of the trial and managed to come across as both endearing yet intimidating at the same time. The type of person you would want as a friend, but most certainly would not want as your enemy.
Just briefly, how would you characterize Christy? What type of child was she?
She was a very quiet child. She liked to keep to herself. She was very loving. She was very creative. She liked to color and draw and play with Barbies, and
How did she do in school?
She was outstanding in school. I never had to stand over her and say, do your homework. It was an automatic thing for her.
Would you say she's an extrovert or an introvert?
I would say introvert for sure.
As far as you know, does she drink alcohol?
No.
Or did she drink
Never.
alcohol?
She's never had alcohol.
Damn, okay.
No.
In 2013, did Christine
Don't say
start
Kappa.
dating
That's
someone,
choice that a lot of people make,
by
man.
the name of Jonathan Koppenhaver?
Yes.
It's crazy that good, reasonable, level-headed decisions that people make, people are so ingrained to think that it's normal that people can't fathom the idea that somebody will make the right decision. It's actually insane to me.
I do. He's wearing a white shirt, playing with his fingers.
Like, oh my god, I can't believe somebody wouldn't drink poison. No shot. This is not real.
Thank you. Now, does he look the same to you as he sits here today?
No.
How is he look different?
He looks like he's lost about 50, 60 pounds. He's not as broad in the arms and in the shoulders.
Did you start to see any changes in Christine after she had been with him
Yes.
for a few months?
Yes.
Can you please describe some of those changes?
She was more isolated from me. She didn't want to do anything with me. She would spend more time in her room. She wasn't as talkative. Her social media, one of her accounts was closed. She was she's always been independent. Even as a little girl, she was independent. And you could see her independence kind of slip away as time went on.
Were you ever present at the home when the defendant became physically violent towards your daughter?
I was in that room that day, and I heard screaming and fighting. And I came out of my bedroom, and I said, what the F is going on? They're screaming at each other. I can't even remember what they were screaming, but Christy was standing up on the stairs. I'm not sure where John was. And she said he grabbed me by my neck and dragged me up the stairs. And I'm like, I'm calling the police. And you could see she had a red mark on her throat. So
I'm sorry, when she said that to you, when she said he grabbed me by my throat, is she talking like you and I are talking, or is...
No, she was screaming. She was hysterical.
Okay.
I think at that point, John had gone up to the bedroom to pack his stuff, because when I said I'm calling the police, he's leaving. And he stood in the closet with his laundry bag, taking his clothes and stuffing it in there, going, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you.
Jesus.
Was the relationship between
That house was looking at him while she's saying that.
You, had it pretty much deteriorated?
Yes.
And because of that, was Christy often kind of in the middle between the two of you?
Yes.
Was it clear at this point that you didn't like him and
Oh,
he
I
didn't
couldn't
like
stand
you?
him at that point. I didn't like him. And I told Christy, I started noticing things, and I told her my opinion, and it was just, she'd say, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
And then at 6:44, you receive a text message from the defendant, you awake yet, several question marks. There was a huge fight when I came in. The guy she was in bed with came at me. So when you start getting these text messages, what do you do? What's going through your mind?
I tried to call him because I couldn't text fast enough. I just woke up. I was trying to read those and try to process out of a straight sleep. What am I looking at? My mind's trying to catch up to everything that's going on. And so I tried to call him, and I said, what's going on? And he goes, we got into a fight and I had to beat her up, and from that point on, I think I hung up the phone. I went and told my boyfriend, you've got to get up now. He's
What a
done
dumb
something
thing to say.
Christy. Move your car so I can get across town. My boyfriend said, oh God.
Actual zero IQ road rage
I moved
Andy.
his car and I started driving, and I think the next time I had a thought, I was actually underneath the Desert Inn, the viaduct, the bridge on DI.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking
Yes, I
about?
do.
I think that's the last cognitive thought that I really had from the house to there. And my thought was, she's dead. That was my thought.
Did you get to Christy's house?
I did.
And when you got there, were there already police officers and everything?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you do?
Oh.
I stopped my truck in the street. I got out of my truck. I saw that the front door was open. I started running. There were officers outside of the house trying to tell me to stop. There were some officers inside the house, and I made it as far as to the inside door, and it was almost like I was like face to face with a lady police officer. And she looked at me and I looked at her, and I said, is my daughter dead? And she just looked at me and she said, no, she's at Sunrise Hospital. I get to the ER and I said, I'm Christy Mack's mom, I want to see my daughter.
Jesus.
And they took me to her room.
I hope it gets clapped in the end, to be honest. D-Gen.
And I walked in, and she was laying in the bed, and it didn't look like her. And I walked
Jesus.
around and I grabbed her hand. And she said, please don't cry. So I squatted down.
Man, that is tough.
the bed
Jesus
so I
Christ.
wouldn't upset her. And I held her hand and I cried.
While you were speaking with Christy, Did you attempt to help her find something that she was looking for?
Yes.
And what was that?
Her cell phone.
Did you text the defendant and ask him for it?
Christy told me that he had taken her cell phone.
Again.
So I started sending him text messages that I wanted that fucking phone.
Damn.
Were you ever able to get the cell phone?
No.
If looks could kill. According to the Journal of Neuroscience, the mother and daughter relationship is the strongest of all bonds. The part of the brain that regulates emotion is more similar between mothers and daughters than any other intergenerational pairing, and this means a mother is more able to put herself in her daughter's shoes when facing a problem, and thus empathize with her struggle to a far greater extent.
Without talking about your conversations with Christy, was there a folder on Christy's phone that she specifically wanted you to get?
Yes.
During the remainder of Christy's stay at the hospital and then for several weeks after, did you kind of try to keep her in a safe place in hiding?
Yes.
Until the defendant had been apprehended?
Yes.
Now you talked a little bit about Christy when you came to her in the hospital and started crying. She told you to quit crying.
Say yes.
Yes, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I know it's hard, but I need an out-loud answer.
Would you consider her an emotional person?
No.
Do you consider it easy for her to share things?
No.
Is this the judge talking?
In regards to this incident, does she want to talk about it?
No.
Because of the instance that
No, the other person.
That you had seen the defendant.
Judge, don't talk, okay.
And because you saw your daughter with marks and you had concerns, do you regret
Oh,
now,
transcriber.
not stepping in and going to the police?
No. Mm-mm. The other incidents that I saw, I really wish I would have shot you. That's my retrospective. I wish I would have shot you.
Oh, thank you so much. Your Honor, that concludes my direct examination.
Okay. Cross.
What is this line for?
The trial lasted 3 weeks, and the verdict came in on March 20th, 2017.
Verdict. We, the jury in the above titled case, find the defendant, War Machine, a.k.a. Jonathan Koppenhaver, as follows. Count 1. Battery constituting domestic violence, strangulation, ferret cage. Guilty of battery constituting domestic violence. Court. Count 2. Coercion. Guilty of coercion without force. Count 3. Preventing or dissuading witness or victim from reporting crime or commencing prosecution. Guilty of preventing or dissuading witness or victim from reporting crime or commencing prosecution.
The jury deadlocked on the 2 counts of attempted murder, but Koppenhaver was still convicted on 29 others, including kidnapping and sexual assault with a weapon. He was sentenced on June 5th, 2017.
Erin McAday and her daughter, Christy McAday, both made brief statements before the sentencing of Jonathan Koppenhaver, the 35-year-old mixed martial arts fighter known as War Machine.
I don't know if my life will feel complete in 12 years, or 20 years, or even 30 years. And neither do you.
I have to look out for the well-being of the community and avoid possible danger to future potential victims as I...
And with this guy's history, he's fucking donezo.
Koppenhaver was ordered to serve 36 years to life after being convicted of more than 24 charges, including sexual assault and first-degree kidnapping.
So there you have it. The rise and fall of John War Machine Koppenhaver. It's a human paradox that many of us will only consider the big picture once it's already too late. He will more than likely spend the rest of his life in prison, and in reverse to the wonder of being able to create memories in the future, he now has to make do with the ones he's got. The mountaintops and the valleys. Only the mountains will never have seemed as high, and the valleys won't appear nearly as deep.
More. Guys, I don't know how it works though. 36 to life, I don't know what that means. 12-36. Okay. Interesting.